Hello. Hello? Can anyone hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Uh-oh. You guys can hear me now? Can you hear me? I'll just check in my Discord. Can you guys hear me in Discord? Okay, I think we're fixed. We're good to go. We're good to go. Okay, that was a bit of a mishap, but we actually got it live. So, right now, guys, Rugby League Live 4 is coming out. As you can see, there is... Is that David Norfoluma without the headgear? I think it is. So I've just started up the game, and the reason why I want to do this video is because Rugby League Live number 4 actually comes out in 2 weeks. On the 28th of July at the end of this month, which is 15 days away, so 2 weeks and 1 day, 15 days. The game is officially going to be released on PS4 and also Xbox, but not PC straight away. It's eventually going to come out on PC. Why they delay those things, I have absolutely no idea. The way I see it is that it should be released on PC, then eventually rolled out onto the other consoles, but for whatever reason they've decided to do it this way. I don't get it, but there we go. But we've got everyone in the chat. As you can see, I've got my live chat. Alpha Acro, thanks for tuning in. Skill Legend 24. Gareth Edwards, I'm a little flat. I'm not sure what that means. If it means the microphone quality's down, or if it means my microphone it's just as flat, or I'm flat. Either way, these are all the videos I'm going to be doing. So right now, I actually want to go through and do a quick video on all the players' stats for Rugby League Live number 4. Now, the good thing about FanHub is that they've released the game demo version, which means there's no gameplay, but you can have a look at the stadiums, and you can have a look at the players and their stats that are going to be released with the game. Now, there might be little variances between now and the end when it actually gets released, because sometimes they review certain players' stats based upon the public feedback they get back in videos just like this one. So, let's log in here and have a look at all the different teams, all the different players, more importantly, who's going to be the top tier player in this game. Let's have a look at our first club. If we go to edit club, let's not go there. We'll have a look if we can just bring up clubs. I'll go edit club to be able to do this. We'll start off at the top, which is... Actually, you know what? Why not start off with Para? By popular demand, Skill Legend 24. Let's have a look at Parramatta Eels. First of all, overall ranking is 80 points. So that's the overall ranking. And the reason why I want to do this video is because last year when I did this video, I actually got a lot of people who enjoyed having a look at all the different players and all the different stats and how they compare in the game. And more importantly, the appearances, how graphically the game looks. As you can see, this is Corey Norman. Now, looking at this picture, he actually looks a little bit too dark at first appearance, and his arms look a little bit bigger than what he aesthetically has when you see him on camera. But that's a little bit strange. But he's the top tier player apparently, ranking 85 points overall, which puts him at the top tier for the Parramatta team. We've got Bevan French. That looks a little bit more like him. Michael Jennings or Jenko at 84. Mitchell Moses at 83. He looks a little bit young there because of the facial features. Now, Semi Radradra, who I thought would have been first ranked in this team, is actually 5th ranked. We've got Nathan Brown, Bo Scott. Bo Scott actually looks like Bo Scott from the game. That is actually a pretty good resemblance. Even from the arm, you know, the actual taping he wears on his arm. We've got Clint Gutterson. Now, the thing about Gutherson is that he's got some weird haircut that he always has with the weird chisel that he's got in the side, so I don't know if that's a good enough reflection of how he actually looks. Brad Takarangi. Now, that looks like Brad Takarangi. That looks so like Brad Takarangi. From the height, to his braids, to his size, to, like, the way he actually looks. The weird thing here is that Manu Ma'u is actually 79 points. And he's smaller. He's as small as Mitchell Moses. No way. I don't know about that. But here's the thing. I think Lil Wayne is my own. I'll just point out 95% they scan the faces, but not the bodies. That's correct. When they actually went out to all the teams, they actually scanned the faces with pretty good, you know, technology to be able to do it. It's the same they did with the AFL this year as well. But in my opinion, looking at this team as well, I think Gutherson should be higher. I think Corey Norman should be in the high 80s. I don't know if Mitchell Moses could be ranked as high as like a Semi Radradra, because I'm surprised that Semi Radradra is not at least 1 or 2 in the team. Like, he's kind of like a marquee player for us. He might not be the most expensive player on our salary, but, you know, why are we wasting our time on the salary sheets? That's a comment by Caps Tube just over that. But do you want me to put the texts over the face from the chat? I'll move the chat around if it's still blocking too many people, but the way if people keep chatting, it will work itself out. But Kurisam Aviava is 78. That does not look like Kurisam Aviava at all. Kenny Edwards, that looks a lot better of Kenny Edwards than anything else. The odd thing is that Jeff Robson is actually ranked higher than most of these other players like Josh Hoffman and Kesa Pritchard. So that's pretty surprising. It's pretty surprising to see that Jeff Robson's been named in the 17 in this game. But we'll go to our next team. What is the next nominated team that we want to have a look at? Whoever says the next team in the chat, I'll start looking at that team right now. Who do we have? As you can see, that's Tim Manor on the front cover as well. So, can anyone nominate a team? What do we got, guys? Anything? If I don't get anything from you guys, I might just go to the top team. Brisbane Broncos. Broncos, okay, Crypto 3, Broncos, I'll go with Broncos next. So manage the roster. Darius Boyd is 88. That actually looks like Darius Boyd. That's pretty on point. I actually think that's a pretty good resemblance to what Darius Boyd looks like. Having him ranked at 88 might be a little bit controversial. We've got Matt Gillette. That actually looks like Matt Gillette as well. That looks a like for Matt Gillette. Anthony Milford, again, 86. We've got Andrew McCullough, 84. James Roberts at 84 as well. Corbin Sims, Adam Blair, 84. He actually looks like he has the people's eyebrow like The Rock. The way that his left eyebrow's looking compared to his right. Who have we got? Herman Essasi. I'm probably going to milk that name completely. If I milk any of the Islander names, I apologize in advance. Last time I did this and I milked, I think, Martin Tapau's name, someone threatened to like find out where I live and burn down my house. Like, that was ridiculous. But if I milk any of the names, apologize in advance. But I think for the Brisbane Broncos, the likeness so far, well, look at that. Ben Hunt actually looks like Ben Hunt. Can we look at the player a little bit more in depth? Like, look at that. Wow. That's a pretty good resemblance. I'm not going to lie. I think the Parramatta Eels players might have had bad lighting. And it made them a little bit darker than what they look like. Josh Mcguire again. His eyes need to be a little bit bigger, but the headband that he has there and the haircut and the facial features and like the chin, I think that's a pretty good resemblance. Tautai Moga. Corey Oates, Alex Glenn, Pengai Jr., Jordan Kahu, Benji Marshall. Got to have a look at Benji. Benji looks like he's in a serial photo right now. Look at that face. It looks like he could be holding up one of those signs to say like prisoner number 8886 or something like that, and that would be a pretty good resemblance. But his face looks a little sloppy. Like when he had his photos done, like his middle lip was a little bit down. I don't know if I actually got a photo of Benji Marshall and like went super zoomed in if his lip was actually like that. Josh Mcguire needs a stupid smirk option. Yeah, probably. Cody Nikorima, sorry. Semi Thaiday. This is the weird thing about the stats. You've got Semi Thaiday at 79, who's in tie with Benji Marshall. But most of the players of the Broncos are actually higher rated. In fact, Corbin Sims 84 seems a little bit random as well. Let's have a look at David Mead. We'll have a look at our next team. The other thing is, in the roster for this team, there looks to be a significant amount of more players than what the Parramatta Eels had in their managed database. So I'll have a look at the next team. Let me know in the chat what team you want me to look at next. Personal opinion, that Brisbane Broncos team, the resemblance is pretty accurate. But so far, it looks like Darius Boyd is the highest rated player that we've seen. Let's have a look at the Canterbury Bulldogs then. Let's have a look at the Canterbury Bulldogs. Who do we have? Managed roster. James Graham is ranked number 1. That's not big enough to be James Graham. He's a lot more bulkier around the shoulders, I reckon. It looks more like a bit of an Aiden Talman. But we've got the Pommy at number 1, 87 points. Sam Cassiano. Josh Jackson. David Clemmer? He doesn't look like a Cyclops enough to be David Clemmer. Look at that facial expression. He looks a little bit ordinary. Now, is Brett Morris and Josh Morris going to be twins in this game? Kinda. That face. We've got Josh Morris as well. You know what though? I actually think Brett Morris is better than Josh Morris by far. So I've got no idea why they'd be on the same ranking at 85. William Hopewade. It looks like he's 50 in this game. How good is his younger brother? I can't remember which brother it was, but there was a video recently of him scoring a try or assisting in a try in the last State of Origin game for the under 18s. They got New South Wales the win. He looked like an absolute freak. But I think Ryan Mclaughlin is just taking a bit of a look at the Morris too much neck. Yeah, I don't know. Sticks out a little bit there. He's got like a permanent chin, like a really defined chin. Who do we have? Brenko Lee. That looks like that looks like Brenko. Josh Reynolds. That's actually not a bad impersonation of Josh Reynolds either. And I think someone just mentioned before, Albert Hopewade under 16s. Someone just mentioned before that you can actually go in and edit the stats. Here's the thing though, you can go and do that for every team and every player, but if you're playing online, you have to sync using the same base stats for all the teams and players. So even if you give your team 100 stats of 100 for every single player, it's going to down tune when you play online. And let's face it, online play is where you want to be. Like, screw this single player stuff. Online play, get in someone's face after you completely dominate them is the way to go. Craig Garvey, man, he looks so small, doesn't he? But he's got that defined tattoo around the neck. Can we actually find a photo of Craig Garvey just to confirm that's how he looks? I haven't seen. I know that he was playing for the Illawarra Cutters, and then he ended up going to the Bulldogs and was playing at number 9 about 2 seasons ago. Can we find a neck shot of him? This is him. He's not probably that well known, but that's his left side of his neck. Look at that. There's little tattoos on that side. Let's have a look. It's on the right side of his neck. There you go. Actually, well, hang on. In that photo, it looks like it's on his left side. What do we got? What do we got? It's on the right side there. I don't know. Maybe they've got the tattoos around the wrong way, but there's not many shots of his neck. Anyway, let's go back to the footage here. The arm tattoos, though, let's have a bit of a closer look at that. Whoops, went back too many. Go back into Craig Garvey. Can't really see. You can't rotate. Look at those tats on his arms. They're probably, look at that. He's got way more tattoos on his arms. So they've probably just taken like a base preset version of tattoos and then kind of applied them. Michael Leisha, Chase Stanley. Go back down. I'll have to fix up the camera and make it look forward again by clicking on one of the players. Does that actually look like Chase Stanley? Will I be streaming this game? I'll be streaming this game 100%. I'll be getting it when it comes out on PC, and I'll be streaming this game for anyone. So if you want to watch Rugby League Live 4 gameplay footage live, where I'm interacting with you guys on chat and playing online, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be posting it here. I don't really use Twitch. I've always used videos on YouTube. It's just a personal preference. I just feel like I know YouTube a lot better. Even though I'm new to streaming, I feel like I'm getting there. I'm getting an understanding of it. Here we go. Jai Dawson raises a good point. He says, the fact they haven't released any gameplay footage within 2 weeks doesn't fill me with confidence. You know, I kind of agree with you there. I'm a little bit worried. Last time they released Rugby League Live 3, what they did was they actually had like a beta day where random fans who wrote a comment on a video got offered to come into their place in French's Forest in New South Wales to test the game and give reviews. That to me was a little bit of a weird way to publicize the game, but that's how they did it. I don't know if they're going to do it this year. I'm hoping to get a copy earlier, if not be one of the first people to get one, so I can put gameplay footage out there immediately. Because the worst thing is, if this game's going to be 70, 80, 90, 100 bucks, you buy it, and after an hour, you can't stand to play it anymore. And there's been some former games in the Rugby League Live world that have been like that. Not necessarily this franchise, but rugby league games that have done poorly. So I actually enjoyed Rugby League Live 3 as a good novelty for a while, but it got a little bit tedious with the gameplay and the gameplay mechanics. Let's see if this game will actually be a little bit better in that way. Upbeat Gun Raven, thank you for the shout out. When does the game come out? It comes out on the 28th of July, so 2 weeks. Let's have a look at Aiden Talman. It looks like he's bleached his hair way too much in this particular shot or in this particular video. The face I don't think is that great, and the fact that they've got him down at 79 stat points is really low considering. Matt Frawley, Josh Cleland, Marcelo Montoya, Tom Carr, or Kerr, however you want to pronounce his name. What team should I do next? I think I saw someone post they wanted me to do the Warriors, which is going to be a big baffle for me to get through all the names, but we'll try it anyway. Obviously, most of the players aren't face scanned. Most were done before round 10, hadn't played in first grade squad yet, so they didn't get scanned. I agree. I think we'll find that some players haven't been face scanned, but look at it. Look at this. This is Kieran Foran. That's like the strangest Kieran Foran. It's like a baby head. It's like the head's way too big for that body. That head right now is just huge. It's like floating over the top of him right now, a bit like a melon, like a... I don't know how you want to put it, but it's a bit of a bobblehead. You know when you get in the car and you see those bobbleheads in the cars go back and forth? That's probably not as accurate. Shawn Johnson, let's have a bit of a closer look at him. You know what? At least in the eyes, it looks like Shawn Johnson. I know that sounds a little homo, but I'm not trying to be homo. He actually looks like him in the eyes. In the hair, I think the comb over doesn't really look like Shawn Johnson too much because he has that little flick up and he puts a little bit of a gel in there. Let's have a look at Issac Luke. Issac Luke actually looks like Issac Luke. That's actually a pretty good resemblance of how Issac Luke looks in the games as well. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck looks like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck as well. In fact, he's got the same knee brace as Issac Luke, which is no surprising. Simon Mannering is only 80 stat points. Now, here's the disappointing thing for me is anyone who plays fantasy knows that Simon Mannering is a tackling god. He plays 80 minutes week in, week out. Solid player, solid defender, solid scorer, 50s, 60s, all day, every day. I'm finding, as Bo Jones 1243 just pointed out, that the hair with the job with the hair isn't done that well, but everything else, like the face, is done really well. So I don't know if it's just the fact that hair can't translate when you do screenshots or like digital face prints or scanning of players. Ryan Hoffman, that's a pretty good resemblance to Ryan Hoffman. The head looks a little bit too big, like a pom, like he's like a brick dunny pom from like the 14th century of ye old England serving Sir John. But there's Solomon Monacata, Ben Madalino, Manu Vadavai, Charrington, Bodine Thompson, 78, Blake Ashford, Jesus, David Fusatua, James Garvey, Ada Hinganoa. Jacob Lillyman is only 77, yet he's a Maroons player. Charlie Gubb as well. So, I feel like the ratings for the Warriors isn't done that well, and that's probably one of the questions I'd love answered by FanHub is how do they do the stats? Like, how do they evaluate the stats? Now, so far the highest rated player we've seen across the teams is still Darius Boyd. So what's our next team going to be? Let me know in the chat. Someone said Legend, said Knights. Let's have a look at the Newcastle Knights, who, if you look at the stats, is the lowest team by rating. They're at 77, while the highest team by rating is Canberra Raiders, tied with the Cronulla Sharks. Nope, sorry, North Queensland Cowboys, 84. Apologise for that. And Sydney Roosters, 84. Let's have a look at the Knights. So, our boy Gagai, with his piercings in his ear. He doesn't play with piercings. No one plays with piercings. What the hell is that? Oh no, they're not piercings. It's just the light reflecting off the shot from that angle. Let's keep looking. Shaun Kenny-Dowall is the second highest rated player for Newcastle, yet hasn't played a game for Newcastle to date. His boots, they're like Barney the dinosaur colour. Jamie Buhrer looks way too dark. Like, look at that face. The face isn't too bad. It's just the darkness. Mitch Barnett. Nathan Ross. Again, I feel like what they've done is they've taken photos of facial scans from like a room that was way too dark at the moment. And we've got Trent Hodgkinson. He's darker. He's like as light as me. He's light, but he's dark in here. Brock Lamb. Oh, how unfortunate was it on the weekend when the Bulldogs defeated the Newcastle Knights, and it came up to this young lad in order to get them across the line and to get those 2 points to put it to extra time, and absolutely potatoed it. He absolutely potatoed it. We got Peter Mataudia. Paulie, wow, man. He looks super dark. Jack Stockwell. Jack Stockwell looks like Jack Stockwell. Jaylene Feeney. We've got Rory Kost-Jason. Jack Cogger. Josh Starling. Josh Starling looks pretty good. Like, as a resemblance. That's not too bad. Anthony Tupou. I haven't seen too much of Tupou to know what he looks like. Joe Waddell. Oh, wow. Daniel Levi. Saifidi. Does that mean his brother Jacob Saifidi's in the team as well? Doesn't look like it, does it? Mickey Paella. Let's have a look. Next team. Lamshank. Let's have a look at the Alpha Acro. Whatever the next team is announced, let me know. But I think the Knights are a special team for everyone because everyone wants to see a team do well after it's done terrible. It's completely fallen off the wayside. And I just got a question. Is this a Renegades hat? The answer is no. It's a Brisbane Bandits hat. So the Australian Baseball League's baseball team based in Brisbane. It's just maroon and red. I've actually lost my black hat, so I'm wearing a red one for now. Let's have a look at the Melbourne Storm. Now, I expect the Melbourne Storm to have the highest rated player in this game, if not the second highest, in Cameron Smith. Where are they? Melbourne Storm, 82. Cameron Smith is 89. I want to know from you guys as well, do you think it looks like a good resemblance so far? Do you think the stats are pretty accurate at the moment? Do you think they could be better kind of tainted, better organised? I think the biggest surprise here now is Cameron Smith is the highest rated player we've seen at 89. Here's the thing, right? They should have players at a maximum of like 100. So like a Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston would be like 99, 100. And then your lower tier players, like your Michael Jennings would be in the 80s. And then your lower tier players under like Michael Jennings, can't name any names, would be 70s. So you've got such a big variation gap between players. At the moment, it looks like a lot of players are very similar. Like at least your starting 13 are going to be between 80 to 90 if you just pick one of the top 5 teams, which is a bit of a shame. So I'll have a look at Alpha Acro, don't jump ahead of me. I will have a look at that shortly and I'll confirm that list. I just thought it'd be better to go through all these players, but here we go. We've got some Storm supporters. We've got Ram H signing in up the Storm, he says. He's another Melbourne supporter. Similar to the FIFA system. Well, there should be more variance. There should be a Cameron Smith running at a case of Pritchard should be able to break the tackle sometimes. Or like a Paul Gallen running at like a case of Pritchard, who's the smallest player on the Eels at that time and had the second most missed tackles, should have a bigger variation to his stats. So then you've got these mismanagements and you're targeting certain players. When you played Rugby League Live 3, because the players only had like a 10-point stat difference between like the low tier players and the highest tier player, there wasn't that great of a difference between playing one team and the next. And that was probably one of the more disappointing things about it. Hey, Jesse Kinley, thanks for tuning in. Where are we up to? Jesse Bromwich, 88. Jesse Bromwich is the second highest tier player that we've seen so far. Cooper Cronk. Billy, see you late. That does not look like Billy Slater at all. It looks like he's aged at about 60 years old. So that doesn't look like him just yet. We got Will Chambers. Cameron Munster. Now, wasn't he an all-star? Can I just say, you know what? I'm going to point this out right now. I totally get what you're saying, Bo Jones, is that Cameron Munster's points are pretty high for someone that just popped up on the scene. He's been around for at least 2 years playing first grade on and off. Last year, he was absolutely amazing. This year, he's come to his own. He's come from playing fullback into the halves and dominated in that position. Now, when he was a name for the Maroons, I thought, okay, he's going to be named in the centres. And then they announced that Michael Morgan was actually going to be playing in the centres and Cameron Munster would be playing in the halves, which meant the Storms had the whole spine for the Maroons, 1, 6, 7, and 9, which is absolutely amazing. It's the second time in Origin history that one team has had all of its players in that particular spot, like across the spine for any team. So, good point by Breaking Point. How was Talman 79 and Cassiano 87? I don't know. It seems ridiculous. But let's keep having a look. Cameron Smith, 89. Jesse Bromwich, 88. Cooper Cronk, 88. Billy Slater. Will Chambers. There's a big gap difference when you go from 86 to 84. Will Chambers. Cameron Munster. Nelson is as big as he should get. He should be the tallest player in the game, and it looks like he is. Kenneth Bromwich. Dale Finucane. Tahu Harris. Geez, hasn't he had such a bad season this year? He came off an injury and just hasn't returned back to that form. He looks a lot more like a caveman in this game than what he actually is. I think the hair's a little bit too long, but it's not a bad resemblance. Jordan McLean, Vunivalu, Chase Blair. Is Curtis Scott in this game? That's all I want to know. Josh Adokar, good resemblance so far with the beard that he's got going. Christian Welch, Tim Glasby, Riley Jack, 78. Nate Miles. Well, at least they've got that right. This has been updated in the last week. There was an update that rolled out today, so they've actually changed the players that needed to be changed. So the good thing about this is that it seems like FanHub are going to be updating this game regularly with changes. Skill Legend 24, I'll do the Roosters. No, sorry, Ethan Muller, I'll do the Titans next. How does that sound? And I'm going to guess ahead of me, guys. Will Jared Hayne be number 1 in that team? Will he be the highest ranked player? Or do you think there's going to be someone else? Like, who do you think is going to be the highest ranked player for the Titans? Let me know in the chat box below. We'll have a bit of a quick look. So Nate Miles, Young Tanamapia. I didn't realize Young Tanamapia had a Tim Damona handlebar. Really? Doesn't look like him, does it? He looks Filipino in this photo. Brody Croft, Slade Griffin. Wow, he's dark. Robbie Rocco, Felice Kafusi. Felice Kafusi should be at least in the 80s. He's been an all-star for this team. That's so disappointing. Who do we got? Curtis Scott. Curtis Scott's in the game, 74. He is the highest scoring average player in fantasy this year. Averaging like 80 points a game at the moment. That's ridiculous. Joe Stimson. Alright, let's have a look at the Titans. So we've got people guessing Ryan James. Definitely Haynes says someone else. I thought I saw an Ashe Taylor there by BL6 montages. Let's have a look. Where are the Titans? Where are they? Where are they? Gold Coast Titans. 80. And it looks like it's going to be Ryan. No, it's Ashe Taylor. I have no idea how you got that. And Chris Sayun. Yesterday's game was absolutely dreadful. It was terrible. It was so bad. Skill Legend 24, I will do Cowboys next. So we've got Ashe Taylor 86. It looks like Ashe Taylor pretty much. There's Jared Hayne at 85. Only scoring 85 there for the Hayne plan. Jared Wallace, Ryan James. That looks like Ryan... That actually looks like Ryan James. That looks like Ryan James down to a T. A little bit dark, but I'm finding that with every player so far. Potentially what we might find in the game is that when they're in a stadium and when the gameplay videos... look at all the Hayne haters. You might find... we actually just did the Warriors just before. Sorry if you missed it. Please try and rewind if you missed the Warriors. We just did the Warriors before. We found Kieran Foran was the highest rated player. But... Ryan James looks like Ryan James, a little bit dark. Here's the thing, when the gameplay videos come out, or when gameplay happens, you might find the stadium lighting makes the players look a bit lighter, so they might have made them all a little bit darker than what they actually are, because they know that the ambient light in the game will make them lighter. I'm not sure, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. So we've got Kane Elgie, 82. He is the worst half playing in this season. As like a first grade half that has his spot sealed at number 6, terrible. Terrible. I don't know. He's got like the highest, most missed tackles. He does nothing in fantasy. Barely any try assists. Doesn't break the lines. In the feeder teams, in the younger divisions, he was amazing. He just did nothing. Young leaves, I'll do the Tigers next. Don't you worry about that. So there's Conrad Hurrell. He's actually got a bigger afro. He should be shorter and he should be a lot more stockier. That's my 2 cents right there. We've got Nathan Peets only at 82. That doesn't look like Nathan Peets at all. That looks terrible. Nathan Peets and Rugby League Live 3 looked a lot more accurate. Although having a look at the actual sponsors, they're not too bad. Look at the actual jersey images that they've got on there. Tripper deal. We can have a look at the jerseys a little bit later. We've got Kevin Proctor. He's got the surfer hair going. That's not too bad. Chris McQueen. Carl Lawton at 80. Really? I don't know about that. Tyrone Roberts is 80. William Zillman, 80. I have no idea how William Zillman has not retired yet. Dale Copley, 79. Ignatius Parsi, 79 as well. Grev, Sargison, John Olive, Palu, Anthony Don, Ryan Simpkins, 74. Patrick Politoni, Eddie, isn't it Edric Pettyborn? Isn't that his full name? Keegan Hipgrave. Never heard of this guy in my life, but that moustache. Let's do a bit of a Google search right now. What is his name? Keegan Hipgrave. That is... Someone's taking the piss here. No, it's an actual player. Oh, no way. Oh, dude, that is a rank moustache. That is so seedy. He looks German. We need a close-up of that moustache. Where are we going? What happened? I have no idea what just happened. It's close-up. For someone who I haven't actually seen in the game, that's not a pretty bad look, is it? Yeah. So that's all the Titans. What are we doing next? I think someone mentioned to do the... it's a solid moustache. Someone mentioned to do the Cowboys next, who's the highest ranked team in this game, along with the Sydney Roosters. Go figure. Who are we going to get first? It has to be Jonathan Thurston. It is 91. So Jonathan Thurston is the highest ranked player that we've seen. Jason Tomalolo is the second highest rated player in this team and in the game that we've seen so far, because Cameron Smith is only 89. How much longer for the stream? As long as we do to cover all the teams. I'm pretty much going to cover every single team here. And here we go. So we've got Jonathan Thurston's Sausage Buddy's a little bit angry in the chat. Jason Tomalolo, Matthew Scott, Jake Granville. Wow, that looks like biblical times hairdo right there. Look at that. It's like Albert Einstein mixed with dye. We've got Michael Morgan. That's pretty good. Lachlan Coote. Cohen Hess. We've got Gavin Cooper. Someone wants me to do... I said I'll do the Tigers next, Young Leaves. Don't worry, I'll be jumping on the Tigers next. We'll get a snapshot of Dim Damona. And you should be happy from there. We've got Ethan Lowe. Scott Bolton. Who else do we have? Sean Fencin. Now, I'll tell you what, man. I love Sean Fencin as a fantasy player when he played for the Raiders. Just a tackling machine. Got 0 attacking stats. He gets pushed out of the club by Ricky Stewart because he's not getting any game time. Goes to the Cowboys. Plays like on the 17th man like once or twice and gets injured. He has had such a backwards career because so many people were saying like 5-6 years ago, Sean Fencin should be playing State of Origin for the Blues. Just like Jared Croker. He's saying the boots look terribly awful. Yeah, but you know what? You won't really notice the boots too much. Kalen Ponga. Johnny, Kyle Felt, Patrick Kafusi. How many Kafusis play in the NRL? Felice Kafusi, Patrick Kafusi, and there was one more. That's not playing right now, but did play in the last 2 years. Benny Hampton. I actually went to school to Blake Austin. He was actually a pretty good guy. He was a good guy in my books. Played, went to St. Dominic's College. Ended up playing for the Panthers. Went to the Tigers. didn't get a spot in the first grade team in the halves, went to the Raiders, played an absolutely amazing debut season for the Raiders when he did, and then hasn't really done much since. In my opinion, 2 years ago, could have played State of Origin. Now, I don't know. Blake Leary, Justin O'Neill, Gillette Mosby, Sam Hawke, Cole Labour, Mago Ben Spinner, Sean Wright, Marcus Jensen, Antonio Kafusi, retired. Alright, we're looking at the Tigers next, because that's what everyone wanted. James Tedesco, 89. There you go. Unfortunately, he's going to be leaving the club. I don't know what to say about the Tigers. Like, how do you put it? The team's just gone backwards. Each and every year, the team's gone backwards more and more than the next year. And I don't know how they're going to turn this around. I actually really like Lolohea playing for that team. And if Connor Watson does get signed, I think he's a solid signing for this team as well, because Watson can play 9, 6, 7, and 1 without a drama. Let's keep having a look. Aaron Woods, 89. You wouldn't think so after last night's performance. Absolutely went missing. Should never play State of Origin again. There, I said it. Elijah Taylor. That's a pretty good resemblance of Elijah Taylor. Ava Sommer, I'm not even going to try to pronounce. Luke Brooks is 83. David Norfoluma, 83. Chris Lawrence, 81. Tim Grant, 80. Lolohea, Jamal Idris is still on the team, apparently. Jack Littlejohn is another guy. Came from rugby union. Played for the Melbourne, for the Manly Seagulls for a couple of games while DCE was injured. On his first touch, kicked at 40-20. Was an absolute fantasy god. Disappeared after that. Never got much game time. They tried to play him at number 9. I don't know why they did that for, I don't know. It was weird. I think the Tigers stuck to Moses and Luke Brooks for far too long. There's Kevin Nagama, Jordan Rankin, Cole Lovett. Cole Lovett. I don't even think he has an NRL contract anymore with all the controversy around him and the Melbourne stories and whatever the hell happened. Ivan will turn around. That Bo Jones reckons Ivan's going to turn it around. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's so many things happening with that club. So many different signings after still to happen. There's not too many players off contract at the end of this year, though, that are left to be picked up. There's not a lot of scraps left. Eisenhuth, Jacob Little, Matt McKilrick, Sue, Matt Ballance should be higher, I reckon. Michael Cheekham. And you're really starting to get... Wow, that doesn't look like... I guess it kind of does. Malachi Watain Selesniak. Now, I went to school to Malachi as well, because he's a Dommy's boy. That does not look like Malachi Watain Selesniak at all. At all, period. What I reckon has happened is that they've probably gotten to a certain point where they've done all the first graders, and they're like, well, because he's a late joining first grader, they just made up like a default body shape for him, and that's what's like the product of that's happened. What team should we do next? I think someone was shouting something. What were they shouting? Someone was saying do someone next. I can't remember what it was. Was it the Roosters? That's it. Let's have a look at the Roosters. Mitchell Pearce, 88. Luke Keary, 87. I've got no idea why he gets rated that high all the time. That's, to me, that's odd. Like, it looks like him, but there's no dog. So... I don't know what to do there. Luke Keary, 87. Cordner looks like Cordner. That's a pretty accurate resemblance. That's not too bad at all. Dylan Napa, the big Renger. Rengers Unite. Who else do we have? Jared Warrior Hargraves. Jake Friend. Here's the thing about Jake Friend. He's injured for the next 4 to 5 weeks, they reckon. I reckon Connor Watson's going to be playing 9. So in the halves, because I've still got Connor Watson, I think that's going to be a huge, huge plus to my team. Michael Gordon, Zane, who we've got Connor Watson. There's Connor Watson right now. Do the Rabbits next. I'll do the Rabbitohs next. That's all right. Everyone's giving it to Pierce in the chat. I don't know. Who? Tell me something. Is very big. Yeah, look, I'll go back to Mitchell Luke-Keary. He's pretty big. His head's as wide as Mitchell Pearce's head. And he's only a little guy. He's actually smaller than Pearce. It's kind of odd when you see that the halves are the most highest rated players in the teams, isn't it? I'll do the Rabbitohs next. Don't worry. But everyone's giving it to Pearce right now. Do you guys think that Pearce was the lowest tier player yesterday? Like, out of all the starting 13 players on both teams, do you think he had the less impact? I reckon so. I don't know. Let's have a bit of a look. We got Mitch Orbison, Kane Evans, Blake Ferguson. Oh, wow. They've got that little smirk on his face. Yeah, Latrell Mitchell. Is it that Blake Ferguson bolded earlier or that he got his head shaved? Which one was it? I feel like he was balding or getting like a receding hairline early in his age and had to do it. Too many of those Smirnoffs or whatever it was on the roof. What do you call them? They're not Smirnoffs. They're something else. Something else. Daniel Tupou, Issac Luke, Ryan Madison. Aiden Guerrero is only 80. But you know what's weird? More than half of the Roosters team is above 80. Like, Ryan Madison, that's the problem, is that, who's that last guy? Shakai Mitchell, never heard of him. I think Rabbitohs. Let's have a bit of a look. We got the Rabbitohs next. South Sydney Rabbitohs. Is that a referee that popped up when I looked over him? Oh, no, it was just Gareth Wood. So, we got the Rabbitohs up next. Greg Inglis, 89. Looks mean, mugging, and ready to thug, 2-pack style. The only problem I have here is that he's not playing anymore, and is probably not going to play next year either. Coogee Dolphins, under 13s, 2017. Thanks for the shout out. I will do the Panthers next. Don't worry about it. Everyone's shouting. Cruisers, that's it. He did cruisers on the roof. Talking about Blake Ferguson. There's Sammy Burgess. The Pommy that looks darker than anything. That's not a bad resemblance. Damien Cook, Angus Crichton. How is Robbie Farah still 86? How is he still 86? Adam Reynolds, on par. Up to Crichton. You know what? I kept saying his name was Crichton because it's the Scottish way of saying it, but Crichton's an absolute fantasy god. Someone asked me the other week, should I sell him? And I'm like, why? Why would you sell the highest scoring player in the game at the moment? We got Cody Walker, John Sutton. John Sutton's another weird one where the coach, Mcguire, absolutely loves him and keeps playing him in the halves and second row and tried to play him in the centers at the start of his career. I don't know. I feel like the Rabbitohs could move on from John Sutton and still go bigger than life. I guess he's kind of like the Tim Manor of Parramatta, right? He's the heart or the glue of the club, and he's there kind of thing. Aaron Gray, Brycey Goodwin. That looks like Brycey pretty on par. Zane Musgrove. We've got Jason Clark, man. Wow. Look at that head. Nice. Here we got, I think my game's starting to lag a little bit. Georgie Burgess, Tom Burgess and George Burgess look almost the same. Hummel Hunt, Alex Johnson. That's a pretty good representation, actually. Kyle Turner, Talakai. So far, what do we have? Thurston's the highest rated player on 91, and we got Greg Inglis on 89, yet probably won't play ever again. Crichton. Crichton goes to your cousin's school. Yeah. Alright. Who we got next? Panthers. We've got the Penrith Panthers. Who are you expecting to be the highest rated player? Merrin or Moylan? would be my guess. Let's have a bit of a look. We got Matt Moylan, 87. Nathan Cleary. That looks like that's a good representation, Nathan Cleary. On par. James Tarmo looks good again. Peter Wallace. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much hair on the head, I should say, but shouldn't be ranked as high. There's no way he's better than Josh Mansour or Tyrone Peachy or... Yeah, he could be better than Reagan. Trent Merrin's only 83 in this game. Bryce Cartwright is down to 82. That guy, seriously, how much do I think this game's going to be? I think it's going to be 80 or 90. You might possibly be able to get it at a discount for 69, like 70 if you're lucky. Bryce Cartwright's 82. That guy literally had a back to front career. Was absolutely amazing when he debuted last year and has gone backwards. All this media publicity that he had, and then the injury in his foot and the plate, I don't know. It's hard to come back from stuff like that. I'm sure he will, but you know, we'll see how that plays out. Latu, Yao, Tim Brown, Kikau. Okay, Remy H. Yeah, there you go. He doesn't get a start, does it? Dallin, Watain, Selesniak. That looks like Dallin. Peter Hiku. Peter Hiku's another one who had a career that just seems to be going backwards. We got Wagga Blake, James Fisher-Harris, Sam McKendry, Dean Ware, Moses Leota. CHN should be much higher than 76. Dylan Edwards, 74. Get him up there. Get him up in the 80s. Do it. Don't think twice about it. I can't remember. Yes, that is a train station that I live by. Trains are going back left, right, and center. Alpha Acro. The only thing about Bryce Cartwright playing like a 5'8" is that for like half a season he was their 5'8". I don't know. Go figure. Who do we want to do next? I think not a lot of... did we not? We already did the Titans. We did the Titans a little bit earlier. If you want to go back and rewind it and check out the video, I think you can still see it. But I'll keep moving on here. Let's have a look at Manly. Let's have a look at Manly. Martin Tapau. That's a pretty good resemblance, on par. Daly Cherry Evans. Not bad. Tommy Travojevic. Jake Travojevic. That's the one thing about these games, is that do you think the players actually buy the games and then have a look at their own stats and play the games? I remember when Daly Cherry Evans used to play fantasy as well. He used to actually play fantasy himself, which I thought was pretty good. I'll do St. George next, just for Ryan Mclaughlin, who's shouting out in the chat right now. Dragons next, don't worry about it, I'm on it. Dylan Walker, we've got Blake Green, Apisai Karasai, Frank Winterstein. Why is that guy ranked 81 points? I don't know. I'll never know. Cameron McCullen is 79, yet has only played like 2 games and came off the bench. Jackson Hastings, nothing this season. Uwade, not too bad. There's Darcy Lussick. That doesn't look like Darcy Lussick at all. Yeah, right. Brian Kelly, Jared Kennedy. Let's keep moving along. Let's have a look at our next team. Who are we going to look at? All the people were shouting out for St. George. I think we've only got so many teams to go. Who do we have left? St. George. Done all these teams. Cronulla Sharks. Canberra Raiders. So we've got 3 teams to go. We've only got 3 teams to go. So let's have a look at St. George Dragons. We've got Paul Vaughan, 86. Not a bad rating. I actually agree with that. Okay. Dugan and Fergo played shithouse last night. They didn't play great. I don't know. What do you do? You know what? In all honesty, I think the only way to fix the Maroons team, the Blues team, is to have a public vote of who should be playing by the fans, because the coaches can't pick for shithouse. No matter who they put in at coach, The wrong team always gets picked. Like, I would have preferred Adam Reynolds to be playing for the Blues this year. Way over Pearce. Some reason, he always gets to play it. Hey, Carlos, YouTube plays. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Tedesco didn't play that great as... I mean, name a player in the Blues team that played really well last night. I think out of all the players, you could probably say that Maloney was one of the better ones. And that's probably about it. Other than that, we're up to Gareth Widdop. Joshy Dugan is 85. There he is. That head's way too big for him. Tyson Frizzell. We've got Ewan Eichen, Kurt Mann, Jack DeBellin, Nana McDonald, Russell Packer, Joel Thompson, Leilua, who's the younger Beej. How is he 80? Maybe they got the two brothers mixed up. Yeah, Kurt Mann, I agree, is overrated as well. Jack DeBellin is underrated. 81. He's in tie with, like, Nene McDonald. He's below Kurt Mann. I've got no idea. That's a bit of a mixture there. Tim Laffey, Lisa Narmau, Jacob Host, Josh McCrone. You can kind of tell that there's probably been some bias when they've actually given stats to these teams. Who do we have next? We've got the Canberra Raiders, 83. So one of the highest teams in this game is this team. Josh Hodgson at 88. Not bad. Luciano Leilua is the younger brother. He was playing for the Roosters, but didn't really get a crack at first grade. I think he might have got one game. I can't particularly remember everything. But I think there was a huge struggle with that team. Josh Papali, 87. Jordan Rapana, Junior Paulo. I thought the most amazing story about Junior Paulo was that he went, after a game of playing with the Eels, he went and played a game with the third grade rugby team because his cousin was on that team and expected no one to notice that it was him. And we've got Jared Croker, 85. Solio Ola, 85 as well. Joey Leilua, 84. Aiden Caesar, 84. Jack Whiten. Blake Austin. That looks like a pretty good representation of Austin as a whole. Like, it's not too bad. It's not that great. Joseph Tapine, Elliot Whitehead, Kurt Baptiste, Nick Kotrick. Now, here's the one regret that I have all year in fantasy is selling Nick Kotrick at about 280 because it just kept going up and up and up. But I wanted to jump off the boat because so many people out there had him. And I was like, look, at the end of the day, I want to do a bit of a pod rather than just stack on the same player that everyone has, thinking he might not go that big. Dave Taylor, I'm still waiting for Dave Taylor to play for the Raiders. Like, Nate Miles can play for the Storm. Why not Dave Taylor? I love Dave. You know, every time I see Dave Taylor, it reminds me of, like, those lumberjacks, like those really big top-heavy guys. Don't even know how to pronounce that. Luke Bateman, 78. Clay Priest, Lachlan Croker, Jeff Lima, Michael Oldfield, 69. Let's have one more look. I think there's one more team. Is it just the Sharks? I think it is, guys. We've got the Cronulla Sharks, last but not least. And I imagine Paul Gallen is going to be the highest. Nope. Andrew Fafita, James Maloney. That's a pretty good on par James Maloney, if I say late show Aussie. All the best. See you, BL6 montages. Thanks for tuning in. I'm actually going to wrap this show up in just a minute. We've got Paul Gallen, 86. Wade Graham, Jack Bird, Luke Lewis, James Seguiaro, Valentine Holmes. Valentine Holmes played amazing last night. Played up to the tee. Didn't expect him to play as well as he did, but he surprised a few people. Got a couple of tries. Wasn't man of the match or anything, but got there. We've got Matt Pryor, Chad Townsend, Chris Heinington, Jaden Brayley, Jeremy Lattimore, Tony Williams, who has barely played a game in first grade this season. So much for getting back on his career. Edric Lee. Wow. They should have shaved off his head a little bit because he has the shaved head, I believe, from memory. Kurt Capewell, Ricky Latelli. Edric Lee shouldn't be 80. Anyway, guys, let's have a quick look at the actual players. So if we just look at the players, all players, that's the highest ranked player. Jonathan Thurston, 91. Tomolo quickly followed by, and we've got a couple of 89s, and then I guess if we go all the way to the bottom, we've got some of these other players from like Latvia, Denmark, Belgium, Ireland, Russia, Scotland. So expect all these other players to be in the game as well. So it's definitely going to be, there you go, there's going to be national teams confirmed. Weren't we going to look at the jerseys? We'll have a quick look at the jerseys. The only thing I'm surprised is that we didn't actually see any Super League players. And I don't know if I have to change anything in my settings. Fan hub, settings, nope. Nothing I can really do there. I'll have a quick look at one of the jerseys. I won't go into too much detail, but let's have a look at the jerseys for... I'll go to the Roosters because I think they've got a couple of different kits. Here we go, jerseys. Home, away, Anzac, Indigenous round, Auckland Nines, and you can add a copy of a jersey if you wanted to. Oh wow, you can add different teams' jerseys to the other teams. Well, there you go. Holden Cup, Intrust Super Cup, Burleigh Bears, Central Queensland Capras. We've got the Intrust Super Premiership, Blacktown Workers Seagulls, Beechwood Super League. So the Super League teams are confirmed to be in here as well. Representative City, Country, Indigenous All-Stars, New South Wales Blues, Queensland World All-Stars. International, let's have a look at the Australia jersey right there. The jerseys are pretty on point. And here's the developers' jerseys, just in case you wanted to try and put them on. Anyway, guys, let's wrap this video up and call it a bit of a day. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. The game's going to be coming out on the 28th of July. It's going to be out on PlayStation 4 and also Xbox. Not PC straight away. It's eventually going to come out on PC, but not straight away, unfortunately. Be sure to subscribe to this channel because I will be doing gameplay videos to show you guys gameplay. So before you buy it for like the 80-90 bucks that it's going to be coming out at, you can watch my videos, get my opinions, get my reviews. That way you know if you want to buy it or not. And maybe we can even play online against one another and see who the best of the best is. I might even do an in-house tournament where I make like a 64-man ladder and have everyone join and play and see if we can do a bit of a tournament and game to see who's the best of them all out there. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate you watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and keep checking in because I'll keep doing my fantasy videos and videos closer up to the release of this day and maybe even get an early copy of the game if the developers at Red Ant and True Blue are watching it indeed. Thanks so much, guys. Take care and I'll talk to you soon. Whoosh.